Hi guys, today I have something very exciting to talk about. Indeed, it might be a discovery that will help people with macular degeneration and retinal disease of all types. The discovery that I made was with the help of artificial intelligence and new AI models that have been used for research. The exciting part about it is it really does work at the same time as what I did with the carnivore diet. It aligns exactly with Dr. Chris Kenobi and what he's been saying about seed oils. I think first a little bit about myself. So there's a lot of new followers. I'll talk a little bit about myself. So my name is Sean, I'm 58 years old. Been blind for 20 years and I've been working on my own projects for the past 18 years, including healthcare companies. I've had computer companies in the past. I've been an owner, operator. I worked overseas, all over the world. And in fact, I've had such an experience in life, I think I'm fairly qualified to call myself a researcher. Been researching with stem cells in mind mostly, but these days I'm researching nutritional biochemistry. So I call myself a nutritional biochemistry researcher on my Facebook page, if you ever come across that. But at the same time, I've got that vast history to pull upon with computers. So this finding, this discovery that I've made, I've outlined in the following video. And I hope you would stay to the end because I've got some important information. If you're a person that has a retinal disease or definitely want to prevent a retinal disease, or you are a researcher, I have some letters of the alphabet that you might be interested in researching the pathways involved. So let's watch the video. Thank you. Something extraordinary happened recently. Multiple AI systems have now demonstrated the ability to make genuine scientific discoveries. Not summaries, not literature reviews, not clever guesses. Actual discoveries that human scientists then tested in the laboratory. One of these systems is called Robin. And what Robin found may have enormous implications for blindness, macular degeneration, retinal disease, and perhaps even our understanding of how the eye repairs itself. Robin was not specifically searching for cholesterol. It was not specifically searching for circadian rhythms. It was not trying to prove a nutritional theory. It simply followed the evidence. And the evidence led it to two pathways that I believe every vision researcher should now be paying attention to. A cholesterol transport pathway centered around a protein I will call the cholesterol export pump, and a circadian repair system that appears to control when the eye performs some of its most important maintenance work. The more I dug into these findings, the more I realized something fascinating. These pathways overlap with observations that many people have reported for years, including my own experience after adopting a carnivore diet and radically changing my relationship with light, sleep, and circadian rhythm. Today we're going to explore the science, we're going to explore the AI, we're going to explore the hypothesis, and by the end of this video I think you'll understand why I believe researchers such as Dr. Chris Kenobi should be taking a very close look at what Robin has uncovered. Most people think of AI as a chatbot. Ask a question, get an answer. Robin is something completely different. Imagine walking into a research institute. In one room sits a scientist whose job is to read every paper ever published on a topic. In another room sits a specialist who investigates drugs and biological pathways. In another room sits a data scientist analysing raw experimental results. And in another room sits a skeptical reviewer whose job is to challenge conclusions and look for mistakes. That is essentially what Robin is. Robin is a team of AI agents working together. Crow reads and summarises scientific literature. Falcon performs deeper investigations. Finch analyses experimental data, and multiple Finch agents independently analyse the same data, so conclusions can be cross-checked before being accepted. Think of it like a jury. One investigator can be wrong. 8 independent investigators reaching the same conclusion is much harder to ignore. The truly revolutionary part is that Robin forms a loop. It generates a hypothesis. Humans run the experiment. Robin analyses. Then Robin generates a better hypothesis. Then the cycle repeats. It is essentially the scientific method running at machine speed. And when Robin was pointed at one of the most important causes of blindness in the developed world, it found something nobody expected. Before we can understand Robin's discoveries, we need to understand something about the retina. Most people imagine the retina as a camera sensor, a passive sheet that captures images. In reality, the retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the entire human body. It consumes enormous amounts of energy, it processes extraordinary amounts of information, and it constantly repairs itself. Imagine owning a Formula One race car. Every day that car is pushed to its limits. Every day components wear out and tyres degrade. Filters become clogged, oil becomes contaminated. Now imagine never servicing that vehicle. Eventually it fails. Your retina faces a similar challenge. Every day your photoreceptors are bombarded by light. Every day they are exposed to oxygen. Every day they are exposed to metabolic stress. Every day tiny parts of those cells become damaged and must be replaced. And that means every day enormous amounts of biological rubbish must be removed. The eye literally has a daily waste management problem. Which brings us to one of the most important cell types in the visual system, the retinal pigment epithelium, or the retinal support layer. The retinal pigment epithelium performs one of the most important jobs in your body. Every day photoreceptors shed worn-out material. The retinal support layer consumes this debris, breaks it down, recycles useful components, and removes waste. Without this process, vision would collapse. Think of the retina as a massive city. Millions of residents generate rubbish every day. The retinal support layer is the sanitation department, the garbage collectors, the recycling centres, the waste management system. If that system slows down, rubbish accumulates. If enough rubbish accumulates, the city begins to fail. Robin became interested in exactly this process, specifically the process where retinal support cells eat and remove waste. Robin identified drugs that enhanced this cleanup process. But then it asked a fascinating question. How exactly are these cells improving their performance? To answer that question, the researchers performed gene activity testing. They looked at which genes became more active, and Robin found something unexpected. The cholesterol export pump is often described as a cholesterol transporter, but that is a bit like describing a garbage truck as a metal box with wheels. Technically true, but it misses the importance. This pump is one of the mechanisms cells use to export excess cholesterol and lipids. Think of it as a fleet of garbage trucks moving waste out of the city. When the trucks operate efficiently, waste is removed. When they fail, rubbish accumulates. Researchers have known for years that cholesterol accumulation occurs beneath the retinal pigment epithelium in macular degeneration. They have known that genes involved in cholesterol transport are associated with macular degeneration risk. They have known that lipid deposits called drusen accumulate in the retina. But Robin independently arrived at the same neighbourhood without being told where to look. And that should make people pay attention, because the AI was not trying to prove a theory, and it simply followed the data. What makes this even more fascinating is that Robin found increasing cleanup activity and increasing cholesterol export activity occurring together, which suggests that efficient retinal cleanup and efficient lipid export may be intimately linked. The garbage trucks and the garbage collectors may be part of the same system. And that raises a very interesting question. What exactly are these transport systems handling? Most people think cholesterol is cholesterol, but that is not quite true. Animals produce cholesterol, plants do not. Plants produce phytosterols. compounds like cytostrol, campestrol, and stigmastrol. At first glance, they look remarkably similar, but the human body clearly does not treat them as identical. How do we know? Because humans evolved dedicated machinery to remove phytosterols. Special transport proteins actively pump plant sterols out of the body. Think about what that means. If phytosterols were functionally identical to cholesterol, why would the body spend energy removing them? Why would specialised transport systems exist? Why would a disease like cytostrolemia occur when those transporters fail? In cytostrolemia, plant sterols accumulate throughout the body. Because removal systems no longer function properly, that proves something important. The body discriminates between cholesterol and phytosterols. Now let's be very clear, this does not prove phytosterols cause macular degeneration. It does not prove phytosterols impair the cholesterol export pump. It does not prove seed oils cause blindness, but it creates a fascinating question. If retinal health depends on efficient lipid transport, and if humans actively remove phytosterols, could long-term exposure to non-cholesterol sterols place additional burden on retinal transport systems? That question deserves investigation, especially because another completely independent line of evidence was pointing Robin somewhere else, toward time itself. One of Robin's most surprising discoveries involved a circadian clock compound. This compound affects circadian biology, your internal body clock. At first glance, this seems unrelated to blindness, but Robin noticed something remarkable. Retinal cleanup follows a schedule. The eye does not simply repair itself randomly throughout the day. The retina appears to have a maintenance window. Think about a city again. Imagine garbage collection only occurs at dawn. Every morning, trucks leave the depot. Roads are cleared, waste is removed, the city starts fresh. Researchers have discovered that retinal cleanup works in a similar fashion. The retinal support layer has its own clock, a genuine biological clock, and that clock controls a daily surge in cleanup activity. When Robin discovered this, it hypothesized that improving circadian regulation might improve retinal maintenance. Laboratory testing supported the idea. Suddenly, the AI had connected blindness research with circadian biology. And once again, I found myself paying very close attention. Because this was no longer just about the retina, it was about how we live. For most of human history, our circadian signals were simple: sunrise, sunset, darkness, firelight, moonlight. Today, things are very different. Many people wake up under LED lights, spend all day indoors, look at screens until midnight, sleep with televisions on, check phones throughout the night. From a circadian perspective, this is unprecedented. The question is not whether artificial light affects biology. We know it does. The question is whether decades of circadian disruption affect retinal repair. Robin may have pointed directly at that possibility. If retinal maintenance is partly scheduled, if cleanup happens at specific times, then disrupting those signals could theoretically impair the system. Years ago, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. Like many people facing progressive vision loss, I expected things to worsen. Then I changed my diet. I adopted a carnivore diet. I eliminated seed oils. I removed major dietary sources of phytosterols. I removed many plant foods. I removed high oxalate foods. But that was not the only change. I also began living differently. I started watching sunrise. I started watching sunset. I spent more time outdoors. I deliberately reduced artificial light exposure at night. I wore blue blockers when using devices after dark. I prioritized sleep. I aligned my lifestyle more closely with natural light cycles. Over time, something remarkable happened. My arthritis disappeared. My blood pressure normalized. My anxiety improved. My sleep improved. and my vision improved. Now I want to emphasize something. This does not prove causation. I cannot tell you which change mattered most. Maybe it was nutrition, maybe it was light, maybe it was sleep, maybe it was inflammation, maybe it was all of them together. But when Robin independently identified cholesterol transport and circadian repair as critical retinal pathways, I could not help but notice the overlap. Let's separate established science from hypothesis. Established science. Macular degeneration involves lipid accumulation. Cholesterol transport pathways are important in retinal disease. The retina performs daily waste removal. That waste removal is regulated by circadian biology. Humans actively remove phytosterols using dedicated transport systems. Those are facts. The hypothesis is this: modern diets rich in oxidized lipids and phytosterols may increase the burden placed on retinal cleanup systems. Modern lifestyles may simultaneously impair circadian repair mechanisms. Over decades, these pressures could contribute to retinal degeneration, not through a single mechanism, but through accumulated stress on systems responsible for maintenance, cleanup, and lipid transport. This is currently a hypothesis, but unlike many hypotheses, it now has specific molecular pathways that can be investigated. The cholesterol export pump, the retinal support layer, retinal waste removal, circadian regulation, these are measurable, these are testable, these are real biological targets. For years, Dr. Chris Kenobi has argued that modern dietary fats may contribute to chronic disease and vision loss. Whether you agree with all of his conclusions or not, Robin may have uncovered something extremely valuable. A mechanistic bridge, a possible connection between retinal degeneration, cholesterol transport, lipid handling, and circadian repair. What we need now is research. Do phytosterols accumulate in retinal tissue? Do they appear in drusen? Does the cholesterol export pump transport phytosterols? Do oxidized seed oil metabolites increase retinal cleanup burden? Can circadian optimization improve retinal repair? Why do some people report visual improvements on carnivore diets? These are questions worth answering. Researchers, nutrition scientists, ophthalmologists, circadian biologists, they all need to be talking to each other, because Robin has shown us something fascinating. The next breakthrough in blindness research may not come from looking at the eye alone. It may come from understanding how the eye connects to cholesterol transport, how it connects to circadian biology, and how it connects to the way modern humans live. The AI has pointed us toward the trail. Now it is time for scientists to follow it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. I've actually tried to make it fairly friendly because a lot of this information is very technical. And if you're a researcher, look, the research you need to look into are the pathways ABCA1, that's the cholesterol pathway, ABCG5 and ABCG8. And they're more the plant cholesterol, the phytosterol pathways. So research that. Hit me up if you want to find out a little bit more information about my research. You can email me at eyesoncarnivore@gmail.com. Now, if you're a person out there that's got a retinal disease, what I did was cut out the seed oils. That was pretty easy to do. I also went carnivore, but it took a while to do that. 3 months or so, 6 weeks initially, then maybe cutting things out, and that's how I started. I transitioned fairly slowly. Some people do it quickly, that's totally up to you, but certainly what this research has found, and if you did a look around already, and I'll put all the information in the description, the links to the studies, if you look around, they have already found drugs to deal with these problems. The circadian rhythm modulation and the cholesterol pump. They might be able to increase that with existing drugs. And that's essentially what this AI was designed to do, to find drugs to fix diseases. But just so happens it found the pathway itself, which is very important because it leads to the prevention. Don't eat seed oils. Reduce your toxic overburden with plant sterols, with phytates, oxalates, lectins, the anti-nutrients that I've talked about on this channel. And here is a link to a bunch of different videos. This is a playlist all about seed oils and cholesterol, and I've done a video about that as well. And as I mentioned before, please check the description, you'll find some more information there. Okay guys, that's great, thanks for hanging around. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, make it ring a bing, ring a ding ding. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.